Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for October 8th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and I'm here today to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 25 live feeds. It was day 67 in the house. And what a day. What a day. We have a veto competition that was played and won. We have plans that continue to develop. All kinds of interesting things going on here today. And I am here to talk through it all. Of course, throughout the day, yesterday, the day before day 66, there was a lot of push to try to get Bowie on board to finally be willing to go after Cameron because people really wanted Cameron gone. He's been on the block every single week that he's been eligible for it in both in both nomination ceremonies. Um and they were like, "Listen, we can't just let the guy not be put on the block in a week. That doesn't make any sense." But Bowie's been reluctant. Bowie has felt like I don't really want to do that. I kind of want to go after Suri. I kind of want to maybe just go after Suri or Felicia. I guess if it can't be one of them, maybe Blue. I don't want to go after Cam. Cam hasn't done anything to me. So, after a coordinated effort between Jag, Corey, Matt, and America, where Corey pointed out some very key things like, hey, we can't talk about resume moves. That's not moving the needle. He brought up some scenarios that helped convince, that would help convince Bowie that this was a good move for her, that it would help keep her safe. Matt then used those scenarios to help convince Bowie, who then said, I just need some excuse now. He needs to have done something to me. Jag also came in clutch with the emotional angle, talking about being a team player and how they're locked in, the three of them. And that's where things ended the night before, day 66, that she was like, listen, I hear you guys. I want to be a team player. I do agree that it makes sense now. It feels dirty. I don't want to do it. I would need to know that he's done me wrong. And so that's where we start the day. We need some dirt on Cam to convince Bowie to target him. That is the plan for the day for pretty much everybody involved. The other plan for the day, though, of course, is that uh, they need to first make sure he doesn't win the veto. And in order for that to happen, they need to see whether or not he will be chosen to play in the veto. And right out of the gate, we get the veto draw. And the veto draw has no house guest choice options. The three players drawn to compete alongside Bowie, Felicia, and Suri are America, Matt, and Jag. Both Blue and Cam not competing in this veto. It is a dream draw for basically the entire house. And there's lots of celebration because of that. Like this couldn't have gone better. It was basically meant to be. This is in fact the first veto competition in the entire season that Cam has not played in, apart from the one that he didn't compete in because he was evicted from the game. And just like that, talk begins again. Corey says to America, this is perfect. After the veto is won, Matt and Jag just need to go mask off with Cameron. Felicia and Suri will obviously support it. And then it's basically the whole house that's pushing for the move to happen. If everyone is saying this is the thing to do, everyone's agreeing with it, everyone's pushing for it, then Bowie's going to do it. That's it. With the entire house supporting it, she's going to agree that it's the right move. In the meantime, Cameron is talking to Bowie because He's got his own agenda. And his agenda is that Corey be backdoored. Now, I talked yesterday about this. I talked about how Cameron has basically been arguing for his own backdoor inadvertently with Bowie. Because Bowie didn't want to do any backdoor. And so Cam is like, okay, well, I really want you to do the Corey backdoor. And in order to get you to do the Corey backdoor, I first have to convince you to do any backdoor. So he's arguing for a backdoor. He's saying, hey, I think that you should backdoor someone. I think that's a good idea. Um, I think that people will respect it. I think that you should make a big move. Suri and Felicia are a waste. And little does he know, these are all arguments in support of him being backdoored. He's saying, hey, Matt and Jag want this to happen. Don't you want to do what they want to do too? And meanwhile, they want to do him as the backdoor. Now he's going even further. He's saying, listen, the whole house will back you. She's like, I just don't think it's the right move for me. If the whole house supports you and wants you to do it, then you should do it, Bowie. He's literally arguing again for the thing that is going to happen to him. As Corey is literally saying, let's get the whole house on board to push. He's telling Bowie, if the whole house wants you to do it, you should do it because he thinks the whole house wants her to backdoor Corey. When the reality is the whole house wants her to backdoor Cam. So, in the meantime, Jag and America are celebrating the veto draw. Let's go. She's doing the dance. He's doing the dance. Jag says, ideally, you win this veto, America, because that's even better. It's an even harder sell to say America uses the veto, put Corey on the block. So if we have the opportunity to throw it to you, we will. And she's like, perfect, because I would love to win something. They're all anticipating that this is going to be OTEV. So as long as America can make it long enough to where Matt and Jag can throw her the veto, they will. They want to. They would prefer to not have to win this themselves. Now, while they're talking about this, Cam struts into the room. They're in the comic room. Cam walks in. He interrupts the Jag and America conversation about how Jag wants to throw the veto to America so that she can use it and then get Cam out. Cam walks in. America looks over. It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go do my hair. And she gets up and she walks right by Cam, who's standing at the door. She can I get by? She walks by Cam, looks him in the face, says, "All right, well, see ya." And he's just staring there, standing there staring at her as she leaves. He's just like, and Cam does the thing where he'll walk in and just stand there and stand. And then America's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving." And he's like, and the door closes and he goes, "Why? Why? What was that?" Jag's like, I don't know." Cam's like, "If you know something, you should tell me about it. If we're doing this, you need to be talking to me." It's like, I don't know. Like, what were you guys talking about? We were just talking about the veto draw, you know? Didn't just talking about like who was gonna get picked or who was gonna pick who and who was asking about it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that was about. It didn't seem like she was mad. I didn't think she was mad at anything in particular. Something weird is going on. No. She only acts like that way when she has been told something by somebody, which means somebody must be telling her things. I mean, I don't know. It's just does she know? Does she know that we're talking about going after Corey? She must know. Somebody must be telling her. Couldn't be the mamas. They don't even know. They don't know enough to tell her. It's not me. And if it's not you or Matt, it's got to be Bowie. It's got to be Bowie. There's something weird going on. Bowie is so reluctant to target Corey. Bowie must have told America about me. I don't know. And in Jag's mind, I think right now, it's thank you, Cam. That was this is everything I need. This is this is everything I Blue Bowie has just been looking for any excuse. I thought I was gonna have to make one up. I thought I was gonna have to lie about you talking bad about Bowie. And then you waltz in here and you just unprompted start laying it down on Bowie. Thank you. Good night. What he says is, "Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that I don't think so." And it's just silence. It's just lots of incredibly awkward silence. And I'm talking for like minutes at a time. Just minutes of awkward silence. Yeah, what if something is going on there with Bowie and Corey and like why won't she go it's red flags for me if she doesn't go after Corey. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I just yeah, I mean you think? I just yeah. Blue comes barging into the comic room. Why is America all hot and heavy? That's what I'm saying, says Cam. What's going on? Jag's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like Cam just walked in and then she just left. She just left. Always like, oh, Cam, it's about you. All right, well, as long as it's not me, I don't give a. Then she leaves. Jag's like, yeah. And that awkward silence and weird conversation lingers for another like 20 minutes. In the meantime, Bowie's upstairs talking to Suri and Felicia. And she's letting them know more about like, hey, this was a good veto draw for us. Like this veto might be used. This might be a good thing. And they're just talking about their day. They're talking about how if you remember that we talked about this yesterday, a little bit more of it happened this morning. A lot of people talking about like, hey, pick me for the veto, pick me for the veto. Cam implying that if you pick me for the veto, I'll use it on you because I want to use it so that Corey goes up on the block. Um, and so they're telling Bowie about all this stuff. And one of the things they tell Bowie is that, hey, Cam told us that you told him to come and talk to us about picking him for the veto because you wanted him to play or something along those lines. He wanted to play and that you told him to talk to us about it. Very minor, pretty unimportant thing. But Bowie's like, oh, yes, no, that's good to know. Any lies he's told will help. It will help make things easier for me. Not that you knew that they were lies, but that's a lie. So he told a lie. So that's good to know for me. Good to know. Thank you for telling me that. Like great. So she's already still moving in that direction. She's going to talk to Corey. And Corey tells her his side of it, his part of it, the thing that he's been pushing for. He says, hey, yeah, Cam has talked to me about going after Matt and Jag. I'm sure he's talked to Matt and Jag about going after me. He always talks about, hey, if somebody puts one of us up on the block, hopefully we get put up on the block next to Bowie because then we'd be fine. And he says he's probably lying about this to me. It's not like he's actually going to vote you out over me, probably. But, still kinda sketchy, right? And she's like, "No, yes, exactly. That's exactly what I need to hear, Corey, that sort of stuff." So it's piling and piling and piling, and then, Jag is gonna come in with the killing blow here because Cam just, you know, he dug his own grave talking to Jag about Bowie here. He comes in, he says, "Hey, Cam just talked to me," tells her what Cam said about being suspicious of her, leaking information, talking about all this stuff, being sketchy, interrogating him. And she's like, wow. Yeah. Cam leaving is best. I just needed the excuse. And now I have it. He's got to go. And so just like that, the morning just crescendos into this decision that is now made. Cam is going to be backdoored, and he's not even playing in the veto. So it's not like there's much that could stop this from happening at this point, aside from a change of heart. Theoretically, if Bowie were to win the veto, she could maybe decide, I don't want to do this. But if somebody else does, there's even less leverage to stop this. Um, so the rest of the day is pretty slow. It's just more of the same, more kind of going in circles. Cam kind of freaking out, talking to various people, talking to Matt, talking to Bowie, talking to people about like being a little bit concerned about things that are going on. Um, but eventually, we are going to get to the veto ceremony, or sorry, the veto competition, I should say. And we do, in fact, have OTEV as well as Zingbot. And when the feeds come back from the veto competition, we discover that Jag has won his third veto of the season. And it's not looking great for Cam. So apparently what happened is that Suri went out very early, America went out very early, Felicia actually hung in there for a little while, and it eventually came down to, I believe, Bowie and Jag. And Felicia was saying she thought Bowie threw the competition, but Felicia tends to think that everybody throws every competition, so who knows? Um, but Jag wins the veto, his third veto. Funny enough, the first veto he won, he was up on the block against Cameron. He won the veto. He beat Cameron to win that veto. Ended up forcing Cameron to stay on the block when Heisem was the replacement. Second time he won the veto, he also beat Cameron and ended up, allowing the Cameron backdoor to happen, where Cameron got evicted. And now this third time he has won the veto. Didn't need to beat Cameron this time, but still in the service of removing Cameron from the game a second time. And you might say, like, man, sucks for Cam that the guy that keeps winning these vetoes, he tried to evict him and it got canceled. And then you remember, well, yeah, but Cameron also got evicted. It's just evicted people beating evicted people at this point. Um, So, Zingbot was there, which means we got some zings. So, I've got some zings for you. These are what has been retold. Corey did his best to retell the zings to us, specifically to be like, hey, this is for the feed people. So we have an idea, but the exact wording is not there for all of them. Cameron was told, "Hey, Cam, you got a military promotion in this house from lieutenant loser to major tool," which I don't know. Didn't do much for me. Hey, America, somebody call the cops because you're a thief. You're robbing the cradle. It's okay. Hey, Bowie, what's the difference between you and a great white shark? One's an Australian creature with massive, scary teeth, and the other is a great white shark. That's that's just mean. Uh, Matt, I could not find, I could not get the wording on Matt's, but it was something to do with picking, picking a cardboard cutout of Josh Duhamel, meaning that he's a dumb blonde, which also pretty lame. Jags was, you're like a sports car, but not like a Jaguar. You're like a Lamborghini, a Borgatti, and an Aston Moron, which is just awful. I don't know how in the world you come up with something that bad. um, Cerise was good. This was a good one. Cerise, all your friends are being voted out, and now you're all alone. You're doing what you do best, losing on an island. Which I thought was that was a good one. That was actually relevant to her background, her current situation, not just calling her lame or a loser or a tool or a moron or dumb or that she has big teeth. Like, come on. Thank you. Apparently Felicia's, I also didn't catch the wording for this one. Apparently they just called her wrinkly, which is ridiculous. As many people in the house pointed out, she's not even wrinkly. Like, what? Um, for Blue, it was something along the lines of like, hey, kitty kitty purr, something, something, something. The only thing worse than your catchphrases is your fashion sense. Which people in the house were like, but her fashion sense isn't bad. Which I loved because the implication is the catchphrases definitely are. But it's weird. I feel like they got that one a little backwards. Because I agree, the fashion sense is fine. It's the catchphrases that are awful. Stick to the catchphrases. Corey's was something along. Corey's was in the song like America, America, something like that. But they fit a bunch of different insults into the song. Was the point? Said something about he's as short as a grain. He's bad at kissing. He has a thin mustache, if you can call it that. And America must have gotten a lobotomy for, I guess, wanting to be with him. I don't know. I'd need to hear the song on this one. I mean, they really went in on him. I'm glad that they fit the mustache in because that's fair game. But yeah, they talked about how they really went in on Corey. They were like they just fit a bunch of stuff in there. And then there was one more. And I heard a bunch of different variations of this, so I don't know what the exact terms were. But Mimi caught a stray. Nicole, you are so boring and under the radar. You went from me nap to me sleep, to me bore, to a week-long me coma. Oh, wait. You're so under the radar, I didn't even notice you got evicted. Zing. I think they were really proud, but the thing is the Mimi one only works because she's like, that was the best part of the joke, was that she got evicted, so, like, maybe they just came up with this one after the fact. Um, I think for me, Suri and Mimi, they kinda nailed. Um, the rest of them range from bad to okay. We'll see on the episode. Compared to, like, previous years, even just nailing 1 or 2, I think is, sort of a return to form. That's like, the best of Zingbot is usually when there's 1 or 2 that you remember. So, maybe we've got something here. Um, anyway, that was Zingbot. So, Jag won the veto. Now it's time to make sure this is locked in. Is the plan gonna stay the plan? Well, Suri talks to Felicia. Suri says, "Hey, listen, if this goes down and Cam leaves, I think Jag is gonna side with America and Corey and leave Blue on the outs." Which, yep. Um, they talk about getting rid of Jag. Jag remains, I think, Suri's main target. If they can get to the end with, like, some women, like Bowie, Blue, or even America, and they're gonna talk more about Blue and America later in the day, and Matt. If they can get to the end with some women and Matt, like Final Four with, like, Bowie or America and Matt, that would be great for them. That's what they kind of are looking for at this moment. Um, but in the meantime, we're gonna get the bathroom, Jag and Bowie. They're celebrating. So good. He's done. Cam's done. Oh, he picked the wrong day to say everything he said earlier today. He should not have done that. She's like, "Yes, exactly right. All I needed was a little bit of an excuse." Yes. What are we gonna call our alliance now? She says, I really was joking about sinking ship, but that's a pretty good one. Um, so it's locked in. Jag goes to Matt. Matt's like, "We're using it, right?" It's like, "Not even a question, bro." Yes. He interrogated me earlier. He was bugging. Like, "Well, who should we use it on?" Matt says, "I think we should use it on Suri." And Jag says, "Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was thinking that too." Um, and so just like that, it's locked in. Cam is the target. Jag's going to use the veto on either Suri or Felicia. Bowie is going to replace Suri or Felicia with Cam, and Cam's gone. I've seen a lot of people talk about, like, dummy Cam, he should have put up Corey last week. Which to me is like, what are you talking about? Corey had almost nothing to do with this. Bowie won the HOH. Jag convinced Bowie to make this move. Jag won the veto. If Corey had left last week, nothing would have changed. Cam is still gone. Like, um, if anything, Cam should have put Jag on the block last week, because that might have helped. Or really, if you really want to go for it, maybe you should have put Bowie on the block last week, because Bowie's the one that ends up winning this HOH. And if Felicia had won, it might have been a different result. But really, the point through all of this is that there really was no good choice for Cam last week. What I said at the beginning of the week, I think, is the main thing here, which is that he never should have won that veto in the first place. He never should have won HOH and veto. He maybe shouldn't have even won the HOH. And then, really, what you need to go back even further for is that he never should have alienated Matt in the way that he did. Remember, Matt is the one pushing Cam the most throughout the last couple of weeks, despite Cam's attempts at getting back in with Matt. Why is Matt pushing for Cam to be evicted? Because of the way that Cam spoke to him on the previous time that Cam was the HOH. Because when Cam realized that Matt wasn't on board to take out Izzy, he talked to Matt like he was an idiot. In fact, he said, Matt, you are an idiot if you don't agree with me. I thought you were smarter than this. It pissed Matt off, and he's never forgotten it. And we can go back even further. Why was he in that position in the first place? Because on week 1, he ratted out his entire alliance and got Riley evicted in week 2 because he was like, listen, these people are all working together, but I'm willing to jump ship as long as you protect Riley. And they were like, oh, Riley? Yeah, let's get her out then. There's no one single thing that you can point to, especially not when it comes to Cam's decision making when he's in power, that is the downfall of Cam. It is Cam the player. He's just not good. His social game is terrible. Everybody has always wanted him out from jump because from jump he made terrible decisions and had terrible relationships. And the fact that he's on the block week after week after week when he's not winning is a testament to that. And here we are. Once again, he is now going to be probably evicted for the second time, probably unanimously for the second time. And it's going to be at the hands of the person that should have been his closest ally. What can you do?
Wrong.
That's fine. So Corey's going to talk to Bowie. They talk about Cam leaving. She says, oh, Corey, Cam has said all kinds of things about you. I can tell you later. And that's the thing too. Like Bowie, for as much as she should have been Cam's closest ally, has never been much of a Cam fan. She was pushed into the Cam relationship. She had a relationship with Red, and via Red, she had a relationship with Cam, but she never seemed to like Cam all that much. When the Red thing happened, she was like, I didn't even want to work with them. But you guys pushed me into that position. I thought they were in the alliance. I didn't even want Cam in the alliance, but you guys pulled him in. And so this is where she stands with them. She says, I've got all kinds of things to tell you about what Cam has been saying about you, Corey. And they go on to talk about different seasons of Big Brother and Big Brother Canada. And Bowie says, yeah, I've listened to every single breakdown podcast. He's like, oh, podcast? Which podcasts? Well, she says, obviously, I've listened to Rob has a podcast. He's like, oh, are you talking about the Taran stuff? Taran Armstrong? She says, yeah, him. And, oh, the egg on Rob Sesternino's face. Oh, Rob. Always getting in trouble, calling people boring. They talk about that. He says, oh, yeah, my brother's been on that a few times. He played Among Us with Taran. He says, I didn't watch season 23 or 24, but I listened to the deep dives from those seasons, which is why I know so much about them. Apparently, when I do my deep dives, we don't get into the meta game enough and how physical the end game comps are, because that is genuinely, I've found this. The people who go on the show tend to listen to those interviews with players way more than they do like actual gameplay analysis content. And I do think that interviews with players are very valuable. But I think that there's sometimes like, you know, we're not usually having those interviews specifically for the context of future players. We're having those interviews for the context of that particular player. So I don't know. It was interesting to me, but obviously the main missing thing for Corey has been these end game comps and the lack of how mental they are and how, you know, how much more physical they are. So funny conversation between the two of them there. Matt is going to talk with Suri and Felicia. They talk about Cam being targeted. Matt says, I want him gone. He's been spreading a lot of stuff. Been spreading a lot of stuff. And Cerie says, "Well, there's nothing he can say that I said." And Matt's like, "Oh, he did." Like, "What? Really?" Like, "Yeah. He said you called me a snake, but I didn't believe it." She goes, "Oh, he really said that? Are you serious?" It's like, "Yeah." Cerie's like, "Ah, I don't think that, Matt." What? She's appalled. Um, Now I don't recall Cam saying to Matt that Cerie said this, but Matt isn't a person that usually just makes things up whole cloth. So I don't disbelieve him. The question then becomes, did Cam or did Cerie actually say that to Cam? And there's definitely a chance she did, especially post double eviction. Because she was very mad at Matt. I don't remember if she said it specifically to Cam, but definitely something she might have said. So either way, it doesn't really matter. This is not going to be like the game breaking thing here, but it was a funny moment. Bowie ends up joining. They tell her they're talking it all through. And Cerie says, "Well, I just wanted to say that if Jag wants to use the veto on Felicia instead of me, I'm okay with that because I don't want Felicia to have to pack again." And Felicia's like, "Aw." So Cerie's introducing a little bit of uncertainty here about who the veto might be used on. Jag and Matt agreed that they wanted it to be used on Cerie, but Cerie is now in front of Felicia, at least saying, "I'm fine with it being used on Felicia." This might turn into another Corey versus America thing, except they're not fighting each other about it as much. Um, I think Matt will still want it to be used on Cerie in general, but we'll see. There's maybe a little bit of uncertainty overall. Um, Matt and Jag do talk again. Now that the back door has been locked in, they need to figure out how to deal with the fugitive situation. And they talked a little bit about it before, but they really start to figure it out here. Um, Essentially, with Cam being backdoored, they're anticipating that Cam is going to try to rat out the fugitives. And their first thought is maybe we should get out in front of it. Maybe we should tell Corey and Blue and America and all these and Bowie, like all these people, like, hey, we have an alliance called the Fugitives, but hey, it's not real. Obviously, that's why we're backdooring Cam right now. Then they think maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should go more along like the Jared route of like, hey, this wasn't even very important. We basically forgot about it. Like, it wasn't a big deal at all. Was a joke. He pitched it to us. We never really agreed. Um, the story eventually becomes okay. At least the latest one becomes Cam brought it up to us, and it was during his initial eviction week when Jag won the veto with Corey and America on the block. Cam tried to pitch to us this like outlaws, fugitives kind of alliance, and obviously we turned it down because I did use the veto, and he went home that week. But then he came back, and we forgot about it. And they were like, "Yeah, we can even act surprised when it's brought up." Like, what? Oh yeah, that. Oh yeah, we forgot about that. Um, that's so that maybe that's the play. They're like, well, what do we tell Blue about like all of the stuff that he's going to say about Blue because we've talked about Blue to him. And they're like, they're not entirely sure what they're going to say to Blue yet, but it doesn't really matter because she just needs to go next week. Blue is their next target. Um, so that's generally where they're looking to go. As the back door looms. America talks to Felicia and Cerie. They talk about the Cam back door. They talk about Blue. At this time, Blue still thinks that the back door is going to happen on Corey. In fact, she's later going to talk to Cam about how she really wished that she could play in the veto because she wanted to win the veto because she had this big theatrical speech planned for when she used the veto where she was going to be like, So I'm using the veto on Felicia. Corey, take a seat. I mean, obviously, it would have been Bowie's decision, but I was gonna make this big thing. Um, Corey ends up joining that conversation. They all hang out. They're joking about Felicia calling them out. They're making fun of Cam. After they leave, Felicia and Cirie agree that they would love to pull America in after Corey leaves. They think that America could be a good ally for them. Probably because she's the only person in the house that has a worse comp record than them. Actually, that's not true. Technically, Blue also has a worse comp record than both of them because Cirie's only played in like 11 competitions ish. But America and Blue have both played in like 15 and 16, and they also have won nothing. So technically they have a worse track record. Um, but you know, performance in competitions is its own thing. But the point is that they're thinking about again trying to work with women in the game. Women plus Matt. Get rid of Jag, work with women, work with Matt. The night goes on. Things are continuing to lock in here a bit. Corey in America. This is big news for the AmeriCorey shippers. They're gonna have the DTR. They're gonna define their relationship. And now they are officially boyfriend and girlfriend. Which listen, you're a showmance. You're on a show, it's a mance, you're a showmance. That's all I have to say about it. It's also it's very funny. It's like Corey's in that like awkward stage where every time he says boyfriend or girlfriend, he says it like more quietly than the rest of the words. Like he's not supposed to say it. Like he's like, you know how I knew you wanted me to be your boyfriend? It's because okay, now that you're my girlfriend. Um anyway, there you go. Um Cam is gonna talk with Blue and Felicia. Blue is asking Felicia, "Who's your celebrity crush?" And Felicia says, "You know, I've always liked Denzel Washington. Always liked it." Um, and Cam goes, "Okay, can we talk about that? We need to talk about it because it needs to be talked about." Felicia's like, What do you mean?" He's like, "Do you really not know this for real?" Like I thought the entire house knew. Izzy asked me about it. So if Izzy knew, I figured everybody knew. She's like, what do you mean?" It's like the fact that I thought you were related. It's like to Denzel? What? Me and Denzel Washington? Why? It's like I listen, I talked to you about this on day 3 that I thought you sounded like him. I told you that. She's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." He's like, "Yeah, so like at first I thought maybe he was your brother because the timeline matched up, but then the more you talked about your immediate family, I was like, no, it couldn't be brother." And I was like, maybe like cousin, um, and all that stuff. Because like like Frankie Grande was on the show. He was like Ariana Grande's brother. I figured like it's not out of the realm of possibility. Um, she's like, "Do you still think that?" He's like, "No, no, I don't still think it now." But I was like, I was leaving open the possibility because it would have been so cool. Um, she's like, "Man, I wish. I wish." So, listen, I'm glad we got that out of the way. We really this is the true story of Cameron is that before he truly got evicted, we needed closure on the Denzel Washington thing. That's that's why they brought him back. They were like, "Listen, this storyline needs to come to a true conclusion." And now that it has, he can go. Um, so Felicia ends up leaving. Again, Cam is going to talk to Blue for a while. This is when she talks about how she wishes she could have used the veto so that she could have been the one to be like, Corey, take a seat, even though she's not the one that does that if she wins the veto. Um, Mostly just trash talking Corey for a while. She says he's got an underbite, and all that stuff. And talking about how they wish they could go after Corey. It's man, somebody needs to take that shot. And Cameron even had said earlier in the day, he's like, "Hello, final two person." Like the fear that the two of them are gonna like link up and work together is becoming true because nobody else is talking to them, and they're also bonding over their Corey stuff. Yeah, Blue is once again buddying up to the person who's about to get voted out, probably. So that's it. That's pretty much the day. It's pretty much what we've got. Um, the thing to watch out for tomorrow is that there's basically a full day before the veto ceremony. Cam has already been a little bit suspicious. Um, I will say this: there's a non-zero chance that if Cam figures out for sure that the plan is to backdoor him before it happens, he can get Bowie into a room alone and just pitch the hell out of her. Like, don't do this. I've never said anything bad about you, so on and so forth. And like the main thing that that was holding Bowie back was feeling guilty about it. And so if Cam is able to successfully pull like some kind of like play that pulls the guilt back in a way that is not pushing him away, um it's not impossible. Do I think that Cam, like, has the tools to do that successfully? Not really. Um, in fact, no, I don't at all, but it's not completely impossible. It's not like, something that we should just completely, ignore that possibility. Look out for Cam figuring it out and having a long conversation with Bowie, where they maybe get into a little bit of a fight or something. I don't know. But the basics here are that it's looking like this is it for Cam. So that's what I've got for you today. Of course, later tonight we are going to have another episode of Big Brother 25. It's going to be Bowie's nomination episode. We're probably going to get the seeds of people trying to convince her to backdoor Cam, with her pushing back quite a bit. And then, maybe even her talking about wanting to target Suri, and maybe they'll be like, "Ooh, is Suri gonna go?" But we'll see. We'll be live. I'll be live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching the episode live with all of you. And then after the episode, we'll be talking it through on the podcast. I'll also be live today playing some, as Corey said, some Among Us type games like Goose Goose Duck. And stuff like that. Um, and then we'll keep things moving. Tomorrow I'll be back 11 a.m. Eastern to update you on everything that happens today. If there is a blow up, or if Cam finds out and maybe he's just sad about it. Who knows? I'll update you tomorrow to see if the plan is still the same heading into the veto ceremony that will be taking place tomorrow. And then we'll keep it moving. Tomorrow will be the stock watch and all of that good stuff. You can also find me, of course, on Twitter and on Instagram, posting climbing stuff. And that's it. That's what I got. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. And I will see all of you next time.